Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's real estate authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb Schlinker is a pilot, and Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you about buying or selling homes. You represent people on both sides of that equation. So we air your real estate voice every Saturday. And if you can't listen to the entire show, it is always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or just search Barb. You'll find her on most popular podcast platforms, iHeartRadio, and many, many others. Barb, what are we going to be talking about this morning?
Well, Richard, the first topic I haven't covered before, but it sounds very simple, but I would like to kind of go into a little bit of detail on behalf of buyers on how to make an offer on a house. I'll also hit some points about how not to make an offer on a house. And then the next topic is going to be what's the best strategy for selling a house in Colorado? People have different strategies, believe it or not. It's not all the same. Most real estate agents think it's you just put it on the market, you post it in the MLS, and you hope somebody else has a buyer. That's the routine that we see out there, but there are other options. So we're going to talk about all the options. Another topic I have not covered in depth before is about VA loans. So those are loans. It's basically a benefit that people that served in the military, whether they're active or not, have a benefit of getting a loan that's guaranteed by the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. They're called VA loans, and they are assumable whether or not you're a veteran or not. So we're going to talk about why VA loans are assumable and attractive to buyers. And then the very last topic is how to sell your house fast and for cash. And as always, I love covering my hot new listings. Richard?
So, Barb, as the selling season starts to heat up, there are more homes on the market now than a few years ago, but buyers are starting to make offers on homes. How do the buyers go about offering to buy a house here in Colorado and make it something that is very attractive to the seller?
Well, first of all, Richard, if a buyer is interested in homes, and a lot of them do this, is they will start looking on Zillow or Realtor, one of those tech company websites, trying to see what's out there and see what the prices are and see what interests them. And that's great. We want them interested in the product, right? And typically, the very first showing for a house nowadays happens online. Used to be years ago. I don't know if you bought houses back then, Richard, but when I started in the business back in the 90s, not all properties for sale were offered online. In fact, pretty much none of them were. So if you wanted to buy a house, you either needed to go to a builder and see what the builder had to offer, or you'd get with a real estate agent. They'd pull out this big, thick white phone book. It was called the MLS book. And the agents would decide what home you would look at. Now that everything's online, that whole thing is flipped around, and the buyers are deciding what home they want to look at. And the buyers actually, these days, because of all these tech companies that are showing the value of all the homes around it, even what some of the homes sold for, they're becoming very educated about what the home's value is, whether or not it's overpriced or underpriced. So if the buyers don't like the price, they're not going to show up. If they don't like the photos, they're not going to show up. And if they're finding that what they will do is they'll find other homes that meet their needs, and they won't even bother to come see it. So I get this question all the time from home sellers. Well, why don't they make me an offer? Why can't you just tell them we're motivated and we'll negotiate? And they just won't cross that line. I don't know why. The best way to position a home is to have it priced right, especially the first 30 days. But even if you don't pull that off and you alter the price later, there is a price for every home. I've had several homes in the past few weeks that were sitting on the market for a long time, and finally, boom, they got a contract. And it was a full price contract. So There's a place and time for everything, but most people don't want to wait for months and months to get their home sold. So we have strategies to help them no matter what their selling strategy is. But on the home buyer side, um, looking at homes for buyers is typically the most fun. They actually love this, and I've always loved it too. I like looking at homes. And you want buyers to get excited about the product that's for sale, that's the home. But sometimes buyers will put the cart before the horse and basically go look at homes, fall in love, then find out how much they qualify. Then, if they don't qualify it, they're all bummed out and disappointed. Or maybe they make an offer with their qualification not being 100%. Um, and it just sets them up for disappointment. And I've even seen buyers do this, write a contract, get a contract on a house, and then later they find out they don't qualify for the home. So that disappoints everybody. So it's not a great idea. That's not the best way to go about it. And with the relatively recent increase in interest rates, which really started middle of 2022, it went from being around 3% to right now we're hovering just below 7% for conventional, the low sixes for the government loans. Buyers need to know how much they can afford, right? And it's not really obvious. They might make a good income, but they need to understand what how much down payment they need. They need to understand what their payment will be for the house and make a decision as to whether or not they can afford it. Rates have definitely come down in the past few days, which is a good thing. And they've come down for conventional at 6.96, for the VA and FHA loan, six and a third, basically. And it does fluctuate during the week, hourly, daily. So it could change a lot. And we're hoping that the rates trend down a little bit as we go into the prime selling season, but there's no guarantee of that. So in general, if a buyer wants to buy a house and they're not paying cash, they need to know how much house payment they qualify for and what their payment would be before they go out shopping. So we're going to cover this briefly. I just finished my mortgage broker test. I have to do it to hire a mortgage broker at the company. I don't really want to do loans. It's not my thing, but I have to be licensed to hire someone to do it. And basically, the way lenders qualify a buyer for a loan is they look at what's called gross monthly income. Gross monthly income is before they take out taxes and everything else. And different types of loans have different, what they call qualification ratios. So as an example, some mortgage lenders can go anywhere 45, sometimes 50% of their gross monthly income can be in the form of debt. So conventional loans, generally they like to see around 36%. VA loans is about 41%. And the way you calculate it, if you took if your gross monthly income was 10,000, then you could qualify for $4,100 in monthly debt. What is monthly debt? Well, that would include house payment, car payment, uh, student loan debt, but not cable bills and not things like that. So a good way to get a really nice, easy to use online tool to figure out what the house payment is before you go out looking at houses. If you go to bankrate.com, and just Google bankrate.com mortgage calculator. And there's a really cool tool that you could put in your price, you could put in your percentage of down payment. You can put kind of what interest rate you think you're going to get. You can also adjust taxes and insurance and come pretty close to what your payment will be. Now, what's not considered debt in that calculation would be cell phone bill, cable or streaming bills, car insurance, life insurance. Those aren't really considered debt. So as an example, like I mentioned, 10,000 in monthly income. If it's a veteran, they can go up to 41% of gross monthly income can be in debt. And if you have a rental property, they will count 75% of that rental income towards the payment on that house that you're holding. So we can go over these later. I know it's hard to do math on the air, but in general, if we see the rates come down much more than say, I'd say a half a point, if we see them get into the fives, I think all these young buyers are going to find a way to buy a home because it will make the payment more affordable. So I would suggest don't wait until the rates drop, because what's going to happen is immediately the prices are going to go back up. And I will tell you that in general, the springtime is kind of prime time selling season. So what we saw through the fall is the prices were dropping, dropping, dropping. Now it's turned a corner pretty much across the board on the Front Range, and the prices are going up. You can always refinance if you see the rates dip down. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about how to make an offer on a Colorado home. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how to make a great offer that gets accepted and really help you prepare, like let you know how much cash you need to have set aside before you buy a home. If you are thinking of making a move, want to buy a home, give us a call. We have a whole team that can help you at 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Barb, we're talking about how to make an offer on a Colorado home and what are the best ways for Colorado home buyers to get their offers accepted.
Well, number one, it's very important that the buyer be financially prepared. Many agents working for buyers these days are encouraging their buyers to ask the seller to pay for their loan closing costs. But when you do the math, it's not a full price offer. And I'm starting to see sellers going, no, I'm not going to help them buy the house, right? If they want to go up above asking price to get their closing costs covered, we can definitely negotiate that. And right now, the way the whole settlement thing went with the National Association of Realtors, the buyer's agent commission is negotiable. So think about it, Richard. You got somebody throwing you an offer. They come in 15, 20,000. They want 15 or 20,000 of the seller to pay their loan closing costs so they can buy down their interest rate and afford the payment. And oh, by the way, the agent representing them also wants you to pay them 3% just for bringing you that low offer. How would you feel about that?
I would not be, I mean, I'll tell you how I feel about it. Unless you were representing me, I wouldn't feel comfortable about that at all.
Yeah, I mean, the deals that go really smoothly are the buyers that make good offers. And then if the buyer's making that good offer, a lot of times the sellers won't mind paying their fee. But both of them are negotiable now. So you have to think about that when you make an offer. But first, get financially prepared. Also be prepared with if you're going to put a down payment, there are some loans out there where you don't need to do a down payment. But in general, you want to have your down payment set aside. You want to have about 2% of your loan closing costs set aside and 2% of the sales price. And in addition to that, you want to have 2 to 3 months of house payments somewhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a cash account. It could be in a retirement account. Lenders will count that, but they just want to know if things get tough that you can make the payment. And of course, pick the right team, the right agent to help you find the house. A good agent can help you as a buyer get the house of your dreams. Some agents try to play this win-lose negotiation, and I don't really think it's a good idea. I think it's best to encourage your buyers to make good offers, because some sellers are just going to pass and they're going to move on from your offer to another offer, and then you don't get the house of your dreams. So if you are thinking of doing that, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com.
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you are thinking of making a move, call Barb, 719-301-3900, or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about what is the best strategy for selling your Colorado home. You don't want to miss that.